People are wondering, where is this guy? That wall don't look familiar. David the Gun, where have you gone? 'Cause that wall don't look familiar. Well, I'm living in a shed. Yes, sir. I'm living in a shed. Living in a shed. And I have a $30 thrift store guitar that I got $5 off on. Oh yeah, it's like a parlor-sized guitar. And I think I might just sell my Taylor and keep this one. I kind of like the jangle. I like that classic plywood tone. I mean, nothing like it. Nothing like it. You can't reproduce that plywood tone with this Sitka spruce or this mahogany stuff. There's nothing like plywood. Plywood is science. How you guys doing? Yeah, I actually didn't get kicked in the shed. That's funny. I did not get kicked out into the shed. I chose it. I chose this life. It's a life of voluntary simplicity. It's that, what's that guy in Central Florida? I'm living in my friend's backyard. I shower in his hose, and I'm growing all my own produce. Like that guy. Come on, give me 1 million subscribers, people. Good evening. I have not done one of these in too long, and I am glad to be back. I have not done a video in too long. It's like all those dead blogs that you see where they post after post after post for like 3 weeks, and then suddenly a month later there's a post, and then 4 months later, gosh, I should get back to doing this blog, and then 3 years later, a lot has happened in the last 3 years, but I'm really going to relaunch it this time, and then it's dead. Dead. Never another. I'm not going to do that to you with the YouTube channel. And welcome to Mojo Palms. I see. It says you're a new member, so you must have re-signed up again. So thank you. I thought you were a member before. Welcome. Hello, Deb. Hello, the Flannel Guys. My brother Brian. Hello, Alan and Brett, and Lovecat, and Joe, and Jonathan, Man Guy Dude, Stiegelman Family Farm. Suki. It's good to see all you guys. Liberty Not Licensed. Sean, Ticey Bear, Drew, Don. Everybody's here tonight. It's a crying shame. So, yeah, great. So anyhow, I've been busy this last week and a half converting a shed into my new office. I wonder if I could probably point this camera around so you could see it. I got my gardening and art books here. I've got my blue light pointed up against the blue wall so it looks cool, right? So it's bouncing down and it kind of cools the room because the room's really yellow. So I've got some of my art books, some of my gardening books, some of my junk, my John Deere hat. Anyhow, over here you can see I have not finished in the doors yet. There's a coffee pot on top of the printer. It's not set up yet properly. And then I have an AC unit. And I have another lamp with a filter on it bouncing against the wall. It looks insane when you like point it right in your face. It's way too bright. But there we go. That's better, huh? Anyhow, this is what I'm doing. It's an 8x10 shed, and I figured I'd better buy it before the price of stuff. You know, before a shed costs $35,000. I figured I would, buy it and convert it and make it into my office because we do have another baby on the way and living space is getting a little cramped. So I gotta thank my father-in-law, Charlie, for helping me get this place wired. We've got outlets in here, and of course we've got a little working AC unit, and I mean, I could not have done this without him, and he also helped me hang insulation. So these walls are insulated. It's nice and quiet in here, and it stays moderately cool. So it's awesome. And I've got the classic brackets. Oh yeah, the classic bracket bookshelves. Stick some brackets on your studs and be the life of the party. So I'm loving it. Yeah, this is awesome. It's so nice. But I did film kind of bits and pieces of videos as we did the build, and I guess I should probably post that. Yeah, should do that. Yeah, this whole nice man shed. You know, they do this man cave thing. I'm like, look, the whole house is mine. I don't need a cave. I own this house. Except for the kitchen. You can have the kitchen, woman. Somebody's got to make sandwiches around here. I should paint a mural on the back wall. That's not a bad idea. I could paint it so it looks like... I could paint exactly what's outside so it looks like there's no wall in the shed. Anyhow, yeah, it's nice. It's a good space. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, the plywood was expensive. I actually got it from Pensacola Salvage, though. It is just that cheap Luan ply that, what is it, 1/80th of an inch thick or something. Put your hand through it. It was like $16 a sheet or something like that. But anyhow, it's turned out very nicely. I am going to insulate over the door. One of the two doors is going to get insulated over and just stuck. It's already screwed shut because I only needed one door. I don't need all that. So anyhow, yeah. Well, welcome everybody. I am excited to do another stream, and I guess actual content starts here. I went to see David the Good, listened to Portishead, and drank spiced rum. He threw me off the ramp, broke my foot, broke my wheelchair, all in good fun. Well, thank you, Saving Grace. I appreciate that. Hello from Pace, Florida. My friend's tree's looking at me. I'm glad. Okay, let me answer the super chat before we get into today's topic. Nice to see you, Daniel. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, Alan. Alan is okay. Daniel says, hey, Dr. G, Q. Question, Cinnamon Vine versus Dioscorea alata. Thanks on how Cinnamon Vine is. I already know your thoughts on alata. Hope fame is good. Family is well. And the cinnamon vine, that is Dioscorea batatas. It's got another name. I think it's Dioscorea polystachya. It is nice to grow. I don't think that it is as productive as Dioscorea alata. It is not as impressive a producer. And it makes a really long, skinny yam that tends to get stuck and lost in the ground. It just goes straight down like a snake, way down into the ground. Harder to harvest, harder to deal with. However, it is edible raw, and it is also way more cold hardy than the Dioscorea alata. Dioscorea alata, you're probably not going to have a lot of luck growing it north of Zone 8, whereas the cinnamon vine, you can grow up into Zone 5, Zone 6, no problem. There is a benefit to the cinnamon vine over the Dioscorea alata also, and that is that it makes lots and lots, copious amounts of small edible bulbils that actually taste good. And you just roast them like little potatoes or boil them, and they're like tiny little potatoes. And it tends to start making a good amount of those in its second to third to fourth year if you just leave the root in the ground. So you can kind of use it. Eric Tonesmeyer in Paradise Lot, which I have here somewhere. I get to do the library thing now. Let's see. Paradise Lot. There we go. All the way down on the end. In Paradise Lot, which is an entertaining book. 2 plant geeks, 1/10 of an acre, and the making of an edible garden oasis in the city. Okay, so him and his roommate take over this crummy little backyard lot in Massachusetts. And this is where I first learned about this crop, was this book. And there's a picture right here. Chinese yam, the edible perennial invasive. Okay, so there's the roots, which tend to dig deep. And there are the edible bulbils. And these are their girlfriends that became their wives. So you know it's not just 2 guys that are such weird geeks they never actually managed to get with girls. They do get with girls later in the book. So like, well, you want to come over and see my pawpaws? No, I'm sure you'll make a great husband for someone someday, Eric. But I'm not that kind of girl. So anyhow, it's a good book. It's enjoyable. But that benefit of that, having a perennial vine in the ground that makes lots and lots of little yam berries, as he calls them, is nice. So I like the Alata, and I like the cinnamon vine, but for different reasons. So that would be my cinnamon vine versus Dioscorea alata. If you want great big potato-like roots that are harvestable fast, that don't tend to dig super deep, go with the Alata. If you want cold hardiness, if you want the little tons and tons of bulbils, go with the cinnamon vine. Dioscorea alata bulbils are technically edible, but I don't think they're worth eating. I've eaten them before. They're like, eh. I don't have the books in alphabetical order. I literally just threw them. No one will be seated during the thrilling book search scene. Dioscorea batata. It means no bulbils for the rest of your day. That's it. Yeah, I do have the sock here for those of you guys that want it. This is actual content. Hello. It's here. Don't worry. Don't worry. I didn't even know you could order predator mites, Love Cat. So, Scott says, I have a friend who is now a fan of yours. He has now cleared an acre or more for food forests and grocery row gardens. He's excited. Fantastic. That's fantastic. Now for something completely different. I'm sure you'll make a great husband. I'm sure you will, Sean. I just like you as a friend. I don't know. I'll have to pray about it. That's the Christian girl escape. I have to pray about it. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's see. Let's get here. I have to get to the actual content, guys. Thank you, Alejandra. I appreciate it for the super chat. Much appreciated. It's good to see you again. Hello, Georgia. All right, so let me get to this. We're gonna get to this thing. Okay. So for those of you guys who saw my last video, I gave in to peer pressure and the stimulus money running out, and I wrote a booklet on grocery row gardening. It is written. It needs to be edited, and I need to get the illustrations in it. But I basically laid out the system as I designed it in Grenada and redesigned it in Alabama, and some of my thoughts on the system, how you can design it in your backyard, some different species, the different ideas, the maintenance, the spacings, and that sort of thing. So I basically outlined the concept, why the concept works, how it works, and I put that up for pre-order. And now immediately when I put it for pre-order, I started getting people saying, well, I only like paperbacks. I legitimately will only buy paperback books, so why don't you have a paperback? Okay, look, it's pre-order on Amazon. It's a Kindle book pre-order. This kind of builds up the algorithms on Amazon, and it doesn't mean that I'm not doing a paperback. Paperback is totally coming. Every one of my books, that's an actual book. A couple of the booklets are not, but every one of the books is a paperback. It always happens that they become paperbacks. It's just I have to hire the layout guy to do a paperback. There's text layout stuff that goes into it and everything. It's much easier to do the ebook version first because it's more of an HTML style layout, and get that out and get it on the market, and then work on getting the paperback version done. Because going to print and making it look nice is more effort. So I think that this book is going to fly. It's already a bestseller in the garden design category, which is exciting, even though it's only on pre-order. But the link to the book is below, and below this video, and you can find it on Amazon too. If you're looking, it's coming. It will be coming in paperback, and there's just, I got my illustrator working on it and all that stuff. You want it bound between stainless steel plates. That's funny. How much of your family's food comes from your garden? Percentage? At least 50%. I have to take pictures of the amount that is in the kitchen right now, because I have actually lost count. Let me just show you a picture. Let's see if I can pull this picture in here. This is just from today. Come on, fit to screen. Here we go. This is just from today. These are pumpkins from the gardens and one watermelon. Can you spot the watermelon? We had over 300 pounds of potatoes in the spring. So basically all of our vegetables come from the garden. And so we get a lot of snake gourds coming in right now, a lot of okra. We had a lot of tomatoes, quite a few onions, and now we're getting piles of pumpkins, and we are getting I think we got probably 100 pounds of watermelons in today too. Some small watermelons that my son grew and harvested. Lots and lots of peppers. Just the other day we picked 7 pounds of peppers. Now 7 pounds of hot peppers is a lot of peppers. That's going to be sauce. Giving that to my friend. And it is really a big benefit on the budget. Like if we wanted to buy this much produce, we would be in, it would be expensive. I don't like to buy produce when I can grow it. And through the early spring, we had lots and lots of turnips and cabbages, and we had lots of broccoli. We're gonna do broccoli again. Broccoli did really well for us this year. Right now we have piles and piles of beans. We're talking like baskets this big of green beans are sitting on the counter right now. There's a basket of eggplant in there. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Rachel is now processing. A friend of ours gave us one of those freezer bag things where you can process your produce and put it in these freezer bags, and it seals it and locks it in. That's happening right now too. So we've been putting it away. Rachel's made a lot of tomato sauce. So over 50%. However, we are still buying meat. So the meat part of our diet, if we were vegetarians, man, I would probably have a higher voice and I'd have a much more peaceful look at the world. But I could probably live just off of my garden as a vegetarian. But I'm not going to, because I like steak and hamburgers. My birthday was this last week, and we did not eat any vegetables on my birthday. I have to say, I just grilled a whole pile of hamburgers and hot dogs. I never feel like I'm a greater, better person after eating hot dogs, but oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I did have some vegetables. I loaded up some of our homemade sauerkraut on top of my hamburgers. But I made a turnip pie, that's right. So, that's what's going on. Yeah, thank you for buying the Seminole pumpkin seeds from my daughter's store there, Brett. She sold out so fast, and I told her she can't cut up all of my pumpkins yet. Like, I want the pumpkins to preserve, you know? Like, I want them to actually they get better if you store them, and I don't want her to just... She could sell... She sold out, I think, in 20, 30 minutes, you know? It was crazy. You guys are amazing. I mean, she's like, Dad, this could be my job, you know? So, that was pretty cool. So, back to the system. Let's talk about the grocery row gardening system. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I had a great birthday. I had fun. We had some friends over, and I drank a Budweiser while I was grilling my burgers, and I was smoking this big Maduro cigar, and and the Budweiser can had the American flag like all over it. Proud to be an American, grilling on my Chinese grill. Cost me $20 at Walmart, saved a big old hill of money. My wife said, do you want to grill for your birthday? I was like, yeah, you bought me a grill down on the island, and then I left it. And then you bought me a grill at our previous house, and then I left it when we moved to the island. So now I'm 2 grills down. I said, let's not invest much in this grill. So I got a $20 grill from Walmart. She helped me pick it out. $20 little grill like this, and I had to put it up on blocks so it was tall enough for me to grill on. It worked great. Best grill I've ever owned. $20. I could cook 12 burgers on it at a time and about 6 hot dogs. It was perfect. Charcoal, man. How old did I turn? I turned the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So, the grocery row garden system. The grocery row gardening system. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this gardening system. How it feels like the years of experimentation with different methods have paid off. It's like when you crossbreed a bunch of vegetables to get a new variety. How many children am I feeding? Currently 9, but I guess 10 because one of them is in utero, and so my wife is eating more. I should have gotten a towel for my birthday. Oh my gosh, Ryan. Props. Fist bump. I should have had an extra arm installed so I can water ski with 2 arms up. So, this system, it's like when you are breeding something, you cross all your Seminole pumpkin varieties like I've enjoyed doing over the years, and you see what comes out of it. But over time, you end up with something that is new and different and hopefully better because you have selected what you like over time. You discard the traits that you don't like and you keep the traits that you do like. You get rid of the stuff you don't like and you keep what you do like. I have tested and planted and experimented with so many different gardening systems over the years. I have gardened in tires, I have gardened in containers, I have gardened in clay, I have gardened in sand, I have gardened in the tropics, I have done food forests, I have done biointensive gardening, I have done square foot gardening, I have done water gardening, I have gardened in bathtubs, I have done vermiculture barrels with the worms that live in the center thing of it, and there's little pockets where you plant herbs and things around the outside. I have gardened in the shade. I have gardened in the sun. I have gardened in raised beds. I have buried logs beneath my beds and done a little bit of a hugelkultur sort of a thing. I have planted into stumps. I have planted into banana trunks. I volunteered with an aquaponics program. I have done so many different types of gardening because for years I have been writing about gardening. And people always ask, well, what about this one? Or what about this one? So I'm going to write about Mel Bartholomew's square foot gardening. So what do? I build some square foot garden beds and I garden for the spring. And I see how it works. If you go to my website, thesurvivalgardener.com, you can see some of these previous methods that I was doing before I was particularly active on YouTube. Back when I was mostly just blogging my garden experiments. Garden in a boat with a goat, yeah, exactly. So there's just a lot of different methods that I've used over the years. I've made all kinds of mistakes. I've killed all different kinds of plants. I have made every mistake. But what has come out of it is realizing which parts of the systems really work and which things are overhyped. Which things really work with the climate, which things really work with my personality type, because some of you guys are this super organized gardener type, I'm sure. There's probably one or two of you that's still watching me, just so you can like sit there and twitch. And a lot of you probably are anarchy gardeners, even more anarchistic than I might be. I gotta say, I like some order. I like the way that row gardens look. I love to walk between the rows of 3-foot corn spacing. I just like that. It's cool. It looks cool. But I also like the sheer amount of life that you get when you scatter seeds across a well-prepared garden bed and you just let it go. Just let's see what happens. Let's stick cuttings in the ground everywhere. Let's plant a tree. Let's grow yams up the tree. Let's cut the tree down and see how it goes sideways when I do that. You know, let's graft this onto that and do this and that and the other thing. So there's a combination of order and experimentation. There is an order that arises in nature naturally in forests where things happen. Seeds get thrown all over, gaps open, new species fill in the gap, animals come in and leave some droppings, and some new seeds start over here, and some new seeds start over here, and something falls over and rots, and then new things grow up and take its place, and vines come in, and the trees fight with the grass, and there's a hurricane, a bunch of stuff gets knocked over, and the forest changes, and then that stuff rots down and gets replaced by hardwoods, and stuff is always changing and moving, and there's all kinds of life and order, and it's way more complicated than we can understand, and a lot of stuff doesn't do well, and it gets run over by stuff that does do well, or things do well for a while, and then they decline, and then something else takes over, and then it's, you know, there's so much stuff that's going on, and you can harness some of that crazy, incredible life of the forest with all the different species coming in and out, all the life coming in and out, all the different harvest seasons. In the spring, you've got wild mulberries. In the fall, you've got wild nuts. You know, you've got grapes somewhere in the late summer. You've got roots that you can dig up at certain times. You might have ginseng that pops up over here. You might have blueberries that pop up over here. You might have some bog plants over here in this swampy area, and just a little ways up here, you've got some dune plants. There's so many things that can happen in that system where it's not all controlled, where you're not just tilling the entire thing under and planting it all with those rows of 3-foot corn. I like the 3-foot rows of corn in moderation. But I love the insanity of a forest. I've always loved the food forest systems. I used to walk around my North Florida food forest and just be surprised at the stuff that showed up. Like, did I plant that? Did God plant that? I mean, like, things would just, oh, over here, look at that. There's a beauty berries showed up, you know? There's a lot of stuff. We had wild plums and black cherries show up in the system. We had different beetles and butterflies and things show up in the system. And when you have that life that goes year after year after year, when you have the trees, the perennials, the flowers, the fungi, rather than a tilled area with a monoculture, or even just a victory garden, right, where you're gonna turn that stuff under. It's all annual gardening. When you have this incredible system, you get way more life into it, and you get those exciting accidents. And it's just, wow, look at that. How did that happen? That's really cool. But it's too much anarchy for some people in some systems. Like if you just say, okay, here's you put your food forest out there and you're just going to plant a bazillion things and then you're going to hack through it with a machete. I like that, but that's pretty hardcore for some people. And it's not necessarily the best use of space. I'll tell you, in comparison, there was a time when I almost went full perennial gardening. But I realized the productivity of annuals in a short period of time is very hard to beat with a perennial system. Plant 5 watermelon seeds. You harvest 300 pounds of watermelons if it's a good year. Even if you get 100 pounds of watermelons. If you planted an apple, it's going to take you 8 years, 10 years to get 100 pounds of apples. Not only that though, you can grow in that same space where you grew those watermelons. That watermelon's done in 120, 130 days or whatever they are. You turn around and you plant a fall crop. You put in some daikons. Put in some carrots. You pull another 500 pounds out of that space. Woo. Right? So the annuals are really powerful. Pumpkins. My pile of pumpkins, I have not even weighed yet, and this is only a fraction of it. This is about half of what I pulled in so far. I have to weigh them. It's ridiculous. I have not been keeping up on the weighing. Last I checked, I was over 600 pounds of produce, but that was like 2 months ago I last marked it, and we've been pulling in 5, 10 pounds, 20 pounds every time we harvest, few times a week, and so I've really lost track. I don't even know anymore. So what happens when you combine the forest with the annuals? You're creating a forest edge. The edge is the dynamic, exciting part of the system where the shore exists, right? Here's the shore. Water comes in here. Land comes down here. There's this huge amount of interaction between land animals and sea animals. There's a feeding frenzy always going along the shore. There is a huge amount of activity. There's a bunch of shallow water creatures and some deep water creatures, and then some semi-aquatic creatures, and then some fully land creatures, terrestrial creatures. Same thing as when you get at a forest edge. When there's not so much shade that it kills all the grasses and the annuals, but you've got the benefit of tree crops, and then underneath it you've got the life of those open sunlight things. You get a huge amount of vines at the edge of the forest. You ever push your way into a forest, that edge is really rough. It's all full of briar vines and all kinds of stuff. Once you get past the edge, you get into the inside of the forest. It's like you can walk around under the trees pretty easily because the canopy has closed and it's shaded out all the stuff underneath. It's not as productive. The prairie is not necessarily as productive as the forest. The forest is not as productive as the prairie. You know, like the edge. Sorry, that's the wrong way to put it. The edge is where the productivity is the highest. So if you say like 50% forest, 50% prairie, you got 100% at that edge. There's like this overlap where all these interactions are taking place, where the birds are flying in and out, where the the vines are growing, where the perennials and the annuals have enough sunshine to live, but you also get the tree crops, etc. So what you're doing with a grocery row garden system, making 4-foot wide beds with 3-foot wide paths, is you're generating a ton of forest edges. You're like edge, restart, edge, restart, edge, restart, edge. So you've got the benefit of no-till, you've got the benefit of tree crops, you've got the benefit of massive annual production right from the beginning. I mean, you are getting harvests from this system within the first 2 months. It's not like waiting for an orchard or waiting for a full-on food forest. You're getting these yields like fast. The benefits of the row gardening, but it's no-till. You till once, you build the soil up once. You're really not tilling much except for small amounts of disturbance where you're planting and digging new things in and out. So I find that what's happened is all the little bits of information and experiments over the years have led me to this edgelord. It's funny. The link is in the description, Little Red Hen. It's Good Gardens on Etsy. I think she only has Everglades tomatoes right now. So you've got this just series of edges. So what's happened is over the years, like I've picked up all these different bits of systems, and some of the stuff I didn't like. Like I with a food forest, the canopy tends to close and make the system less productive. Plus, managing and planting vegetables, etc., in the food forest. In my North Florida food forest, I had some, but the annuals did not nearly as well as they did back in my annual gardens. But I'm finding with this system so far in the grocery row gardens, it's been extremely exciting. Jenky says, what about then adding in living walkways? You could do that if you wanted to experiment with it. I don't like the living walkways necessarily, because there's a lot of traffic on it. Plus I can keep control of the pathways very easily with a wheel hoe. So that benefit of being able to just go and wheel hoe through, if I mulched it or if I made it living, then I would have to hand weed, or I'd have to beat everything down with a string trimmer or something like that. I don't want the grasses to get reestablished into it and start being a problem. So far, we found that just wheel hoeing those 3-foot wide paths keeps them under control. You wheel hoe them now and again, and just walk the paths, and it takes out the problems. It works very, very well. I can't find, the only thing that I think I've found that I may change in the system, and I mentioned it in the booklet because people wanted to know, okay, how does this system work and what are your ideas behind it? I put in a huge list of the influences on the system and reasons why I like the system and how it works, etc. in the book. I may actually try some with 4-foot wide paths. So 4 foot, that's crazy. 4 foot in path, 4 foot in bed. Because even those 3-foot wide paths are getting eaten by Everglades tomatoes and some of the squash vines. And they have been so remarkably productive. If you have more space, you might even do 4-foot wide paths, knowing that everything is going to go out in the paths. Another benefit I like of the paths is that paths act kind of like a gutter, where the overflow of the gardens can get thrown into the paths. So what I mean by that is, let's say I've got a bunch of collards that I'm tired of looking at and they're all full of wormholes or something, or they're past their prime. So I chop the collards, I throw them in the path. They dry out in the sun there, or they just sit there and they rot down, or they get raked up. A lot of the times what we do is I just chop a bunch of stuff out of the beds. If I don't throw it back onto the beds, I harvest a certain amount of it, I throw it in the paths, and then I rake that up and I throw it in the wheelbarrow and I take it over and I dump it to feed it to the chickens. And the chickens recycle it into manure and compost for me, which I can then go reapply to the beds and refeed them, which is pretty nice. She does have just Everglades right now. Growing with Hudson says, I'm pretty new to your channel. How big was your first garden, and was it hard to maintain? My first garden I planted when I was about probably 6 or 7. And my dad built it for me in the backyard using railroad ties. It was 8 foot by 8 foot. And I just mostly killed a bunch of stuff in it. It was in South Florida. I was a little kid, and I have been experimenting with gardens ever since. The garden later took up about 1/4 to 1/3 of the backyard. Now I still have a garden down there in South Florida. I took over my parents' almost their entire backyard 10 years ago. Planted it as a food forest, and I also put trees in their front yard too. So now I'd say my gardening projects are about 50% of my parents' yard. But I just started with a regular in-ground garden, planting seeds according to what it said on the packets, and then basically almost everything died because it was South Florida and it was sandy, and I had no idea what I was doing. I got some things here and there, but they were poorly fed. They didn't know what to. I experimented and I grew. Later, I experimented with 5 foot wide beds and 3 foot wide beds, cinder block beds. I found that my favorite type of bed is just a mounded, double dug or deeply dug or forked bed, 4 foot wide. It seems to work the best for me. If I have a lot of space and I have poor soil, I will do row gardens at 3 foot spacing. That way I don't have to water. The rain does it for me usually. You can go a couple of weeks without rain if you have wide enough spacing, and it's fine. And the soil does not have to be nearly so improved to do those wide rows. As if you were doing stuff tightly in beds, it takes more life and love. So I'm experimenting with all kinds of things right now. Take America back. My first vegetable garden is about 11, all by myself, had rose mulch fence. At age 16, you gotta take it to police station for growing the wrong stuff. I'm 50 now. I never had that problem. I did plant, I planted quinoa once because somebody said quinoa, man, quinoa, that's a great biomass crop. You need to grow some of that. So somebody gave me some seeds. And I planted it, and it got about 4 feet tall, and it was a dead ringer for an illegal plant. We're talking palmate leaves with toothed edges. It was a dead ringer. And I knew that at some point I would probably get my door kicked in because of that stuff. So I chopped it down and I composted it, and I didn't grow it anymore. I just didn't want to deal with that. True says, I'm growing all this great food, but I don't know how to cook it, man. Rachel's recipe segment maybe help. I'm a bad cook. I'll tell you, ketchup and soy sauce. All you need. Everything. Everything. I have done some videos where Rachel cooks and demonstrates different things, but they always do poorly on views. If you look up the views of any of our cooking or demonstration videos like that, they're almost all low, I think with the exception of making sauerkraut, which is unfortunate. I don't know. People just don't like that. The YouTube algorithm doesn't push it because this is a gardening channel, not a cooking channel or something. I don't know why it is, but I mean, I'll do a video and it'll get 1,000 views. But if I did it as if I did a gardening video, it'll get 4,000 or 5,000. I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of other things that I like to do, like things I like to play with and experiment with, that I have found don't do well. That's why I started the David the Good Tunes channel. If you see the David the Good Tunes channel, that's where I started putting my songs. So people are like, hey, would you put that song up? Some of you guys enjoy my music. I don't understand it, but you do. So it's because it's really incredible, man. It's like my music, it's like I just reach into this other space. This space of just pure creative light, and I break open and like tear it open, and the light just pours into me, and it comes out on my $30 Chinese guitar, and next thing you know, so much creativity. Yeah. anyhow, so I had to start another channel because people were like, how does that help me grow something? I hate that song. It's dumb because I don't understand creative people and I just want to garden. So anyhow, you know, I look at, here's another thing. I would love to do a series of videos on my current experiment. See this? This is a Brownie Hawkeye Kodak camera from 1953. I'm gonna load this thing with film and go take photos with it. I think this is amazing. Check this out. Look at that. Camera. Oh, it still works too. Look at that. See the shutter? Let's see if we can see it here. Shutter works. Needs to be cleaned. I'm gonna clean it up and I'm gonna see if I can rehack it to take film. And I'm gonna do like some hipster photography. Right? But if I do that sort of thing on this channel, it was like that one time I said, you know what, I'm gonna do 30 paintings in 30 days. And people started unsubscribing. I didn't come here because I wanted to watch some guy paint. No, I understand. Like, if it's something I wasn't interested in, like if suddenly, let's see, what's my favorite channel? Pete Canaris. Pete Canaris, I'm like, huge Pete fan, right? I'm like, Pete Canaris, man, he's doing like this cool agroforestry thing. He's got a drone and there's like all these patterns and stuff. And then Pete's like, hey guys, guess what? I'm really into model trains now. Check out my model train. HO scale. But this is a special HO scale they only make in Taiwan. And you know, you're like, oh, I wanted to see more of that drone thing over the patterns. I wanted to see Pete doing like cool stuff with plants. I don't really want to watch him playing with trains. Unsubscribe! So, yeah. The Seminole pumpkin seeds will go back up for sale again soon, but we've got to get it to where we get it. But I can't let my daughter chop all of my pumpkins into pieces like they're food. We have to deal with it. We have to like. I want them to ripen up on the counter for a couple of months so they get full flavor and they taste great and stuff. I let her butcher 2 of them. She sold them all out. She would sell them all day long, but I don't want her to butcher all my pumpkins. Sorry, guys. And soon, maybe in a month, we'll eat some more and I'll let her do another round. We'll sell them out. Sir Hat sends a super chat. Thank you very much. I will give gardening tips for tips. I asked about tobacco virus in tomatoes a couple of years ago, and you said not to worry. You were right, no sign of it anywhere, and I manhandled tomatoes because I waited too long to trellis them. You're out there with your cigar, wrapping the tomatoes. Get out there, Ronnie, what are you doing? Get off the ground. Ah, man, alive. I can't stand these tomatoes getting on the ground. Yeah, you know, it's an occasional problem, but, I mean, look, you can worry about everything. You could get weird diseases from like ripping open bags of potting soil and inhaling the dust. Okay, this sort of stuff happens occasionally, but I don't want to like base my entire life on it. So, all right, I gotta read. I'm gonna read some things. Sir Hat says, I love that video where you did like 5 different types of radish and turned it, but I could see why that would not be viral. Yeah. Yeah, Michael, that explains why it really is hard to get enough humus in the soil, particularly if you're fighting a lot of rainfall and warm, humid conditions where stuff breaks down very, very, very fast. Tammy says, I make my own mayo with my eggs, and my wife makes mayo for us too, because I don't like to eat soybean oil. I should record an album. I have recorded some albums. I just put one of my older albums up for sale. If you're on the David the Good Tunes channel, but it's old. I think it's better now. Supposed to play the music for my plants. It's a good idea. Liberty Now License says that Taylor will be worth $17,000 in 2 years. Don't sell it yet. Of course, a loaf of bread. Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm in this shed now. I was gonna build the shed office later, and I said, heck, inflation's running away. I'm just gonna buy stuff while I know I could still get it. Green Christendom says, my 2-year-old liked the Go to the Garden song. You had me play it a couple times. I appreciate that. I like your 2-year-old. 2-year-olds are my best friends, you know. They love to work in the garden. They go see the chickens. Everything is brand new. I took my little daughter out to see the chickens. Want to go feed the chickens? Chickens. Yeah, let's go feed the chicken. Chickens. Okay. And then she's like, eggs? 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 Oh, well, let's go look for eggs, you know. It's so much fun. It's the best. Scott says, I shoot film and vintage cameras too. If you need developing, hit me up. Awesome. I don't know if I need developing, Scott, because look at what else I got. Oh! Oh, yes! I scored with this one. Polaroid, man. Oh. Can you imagine carrying this thing around with you? It's a little bulky. But, there we go. Pretty impressive. Alright, so, yeah. But, no, developing, that's amazing. I'm really a hack, Scott, so I am going to try to play with this thing. I'll just have to call you. But I would love to do a series of garden pictures on a 1953 camera. Maybe a series. I'll do a series. I'm pretty good at photography. Anyways, if you've seen my blog, you know that I like to shoot. I collect vintage lenses too. I just got this lens the other day. This is a Minolta mount. I paid $15 for it. Multi-coated 28mm Chinar lens. That will be on my camera soon. I'm looking for old film camera lenses, like, you know, 35mm Pentax lenses, Minolta lenses, whatever. If anybody, I will trade autographed books for old lenses. Let me know. I don't know how to develop pictures. I'm gonna have to learn it. You're gonna model train villages? That's hilarious. I do get bored fast. I'll tell you, it's hard for me to stay. It's hard for me to stay on one topic. It's amazing that I have stayed on gardening for so long, and I think part of the love for the Grocery Road gardening system is that you can do a ton of stuff inside of it, but it's contained in manageable rows, but they are strips of food forest / orchard mixed with vegetable gardening, mixed with perennials, and there's a ton of life in there. Like, I went through it earlier today, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's something on the back of my neck, and I went like this, and it fell on the ground, and it was a stick bug. It was like this big, and I thought it was one of those giant spiders, and just like, what the heck? I didn't scream. I'm not scared of spiders. I'm actually not scared of all that much, except really deep water. I don't like really deep water with like things in it, particularly at night. You know, like things with giant eyes deep beneath the surface. I don't like that sort of thing. But otherwise, anyhow, that's enough. The Grocery Road Gardens have all of this stuff going on in them, so I'm super excited about it. So I finally wrote the booklet, and I would say that the system is only 2 years old. That's what I say in the booklet. It's less than 2 years old. But the seeds of the system are way older than that. I have experimented with around the edges with a lot of different things over the years, from some edible hedges, and then growing my citrus in rows, and growing apples in rows, and growing like a two-dimensional garden along the back of my house. I have a 4-foot wide bed that I planted that's very much a Grocery Road garden from 8 or 9 years ago. I planted into my gardens. I used Japanese persimmon and a bunch of perennials, and I mixed a bed like right into the middle of my gardens. And so that was the beginning of it, and I loved the way that looked and how it turned out and how much life lived in it. So, Yeah. Brett says, I would have been happy to spend twice the amount she's asking for the Seminole seeds. Well, I appreciate it. I just don't want to, like, she doesn't want to either. She doesn't want to make, you know, like, just ask ridiculous prices for things. I know people are very generous and happy to pay more, but it's a little rare. So I feel like, I think whatever she was asking, $3 or $3.75 or something, I'm not sure. I didn't want to, you know, she doesn't want to jack it up too much. I have not tried grapeseed oil in mayo. Gypsy Bee, a song about Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles are opportunistic guys. First I found them in all my fruit trees. Now they've run to bluer skies? I think I was messing up. Grass is greener with bluer. No. Now they've gone on to bluer skies. They're in my runner beans. I don't know what this means, but I chew them all to pieces with their piercing and sucking mouth parts. 'Cause the Japanese beetles are in my runner beans. Yeah. Adelina says, do you keep chickens? If so, can you share your maintenance? Like, what do you feed? What do you use for bedding? Do you treat them with sprouting some seeds for them? Or mealworms? Good. I have chickens, but I don't really put the chickens on YouTube all that much because people are insane about animals. You're so cruel. Why do you keep them all in one tiny box? And then some people are like, you have to let them free range. And other people are like, no, you only got to feed them like this. And somebody, you know, and people are so stupid about animals. They go insane. It's like, my chickens work for me. They have an outdoor space. They have an indoor space. They have nest boxes that are made out of old dresser drawers. I actually took an old broken dresser and I pulled the drawers out and hung them sideways, and I put a bunch of shredded paper in there, and they lay eggs in it. They love it. They've got a bunch of corn stalks chopped up for bedding now. We threw tons of corn stalks down in there because it was kind of getting muddy in the run. I feed them regular chicken feed, some scratch grains, lots and lots and lots of vegetables and weeds and scraps from the garden, lots of scraps from the kitchen. But and we are getting eggs now. As of the last couple of weeks, the eggs have started to come in. But I just, doing the animals on YouTube, it's like, I just don't want to deal with the YouTube drama. I had somebody write me and say, we're not friends with Justin anymore, and I can't subscribe to your newsletter because you support Justin Rhodes. I'm like, well, I've been friends with Justin for a long time. We've been online friends for years. And they're like, whoa, because you support Justin Rhodes, you mention him positively. There's a lot of us homesteaders who really don't like the way he treats his animals. He's cruel, and he didn't do this with his sheep, and he should have done that with his sheep, and it's dangerous, and his kids are in danger because they're around those animals. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I want to put my kids, my animals, any of that stuff. You know what? People don't complain about plant, They don't complain about, that plant looks like it's really yellow. You're so cruel. They don't even care. I just don't want to deal with it. You can't even show dead mice on YouTube anymore. I know, for those of you who are members, I killed a bunch of squirrels. Popped those suckers. We popped those suckers. And I buried them in a trench out in the garden. There is a squirrel preda bed. Let me see if I can find this. I must have it. I have a squirrel preda bed. But only those of you who are members actually get to see that, because I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the insanity of how dare you kill all those beautiful squirrels? Squirrels are a great part of the ecosystem. You should lose all your corn for the sake of the tree rats, you know. So I just don't want to get into it. And I will do like you're supposed to do and just calmly and quietly plug all the squirrels and bury them in a trench. Off camera. I know you guys don't care. And I will calmly write a gangster rap about it for my other channel.
I'ma pop those suckers. Boom. I'ma drop the...
Hey, come on. Come on, YouTube. You can stream and do this at the same time.
I'ma drop those suckers.
You can do this.
Pop those suckers.
You can do this. You don't need... Oh, we're going to go to 144p. We're going to listen to this. Streaming from the other channel.
I'ma pop those suckers. Boom. I'ma drop those suckers. Boom, 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 boom. My killers talking around. T to the G with my 12 gauge pounds. Skulls in my hood all over the corn. Shed the cops, now my ears are shorn. Dropping kernels and shucks. I see TV like KFC. I got a special recipe. I'ma pop those suckers. Boom. I'ma drop those suckers. Boom. I'ma pop those suckers. Boom. I'ma drop those suckers. Boom, boom. I'ma pop those suckers. Boom.
Yeah, see, that's what you're missing if you're not subscribed to David the Good Tunes. Why don't I eat them? I don't like them. I don't like the way they taste. Besides, the squirrels around here are kind of stringy and small. Yeah, that's right, Michael. Burying them just seems right to me. They eat the plant eats them. It's a beautiful cycle. It's a circle of life. People don't like life anymore. Lead is a micronutrient, isn't it? Karen. Karen sends a super chat with the pear rolling around in the... I don't even know where you find these things, Karen. Thank you very much for the tip. Compost your enemies. So I trenched it, and I put a bunch of biochar in there, and you can see it if you're a member of this channel. I put it behind a paywall. I just can't deal with it. So trauma llamas. Yeah, I agree. Sheena's Keto Prepared Homestead says, I process my own sheep. No one should care. They need to do their thing and leave me be. That's the thing. You might leave people be, but other people don't want to leave you be. So the more of your life that goes out on the internet, the less you're going to get left be. And that's just, you know, that's just the way it is. Yeah. Sarah says, I have about 40 hazelnut trees and bushes, never harvested one hazelnut due to squirrels. I don't really mind, though, because hazelnuts aren't that good. It's too much work to harvest anyways. In that case, you just farm the squirrels. True to farm, you composted those suckers. That's right, Tizy Bear. One cat would take care of a lot of squirrels, but I don't want to turn any crazier than I am. There's the other thing I fear, toxoplasmosis. Sean says, I want to shoot and eat the squirrels, but Mom won't let me. Okay, this is why you don't have a girlfriend, Sean. Yeah, I'm sure you'll make a great husband for somebody someday. Mom, don't do what your mom says. Oh my gosh. It's not a waste. You know, it goes right back. Goes right back into the garden. It's beautiful. It's permaculture. And the thing is, I'll tell you, I destroy a lot less life than the average American ever would. Like, I catch spiders inside my house, and I let them go outside. I don't kill crickets. I let them go. I usually don't even kill grasshoppers that are in my garden. Now, if they hit a plague level, I might kill them. But I allow some cabbage moths to exist in the garden. I just quit bothering with them. Plant other stuff. Things come and go in cycles. I saw the wasps were starting to control the larvae. I didn't worry about it. So. Oh, Sean. There's gotta be a girl that's weird enough for you. Gotta be. I'm not sure if I saw that, Alex. I do get a lot of emails, so if I accidentally miss an email, it's nothing intentional. Air rifle's pretty good. But, you know, I'd say the average person probably doesn't provide as much life as we gardeners do. All of you guys that are planting perennials and flowers and grocery row gardens and food forests and not killing everything in your yard, you're not doing chem lawn. Think of how much life you're creating. When you garden in your backyard and you garden without pesticides and without destroying stuff, you harvest that food, you eat, it's the best food you could possibly eat. You're not outsourcing your food, at least your vegetable production, to big monoculture farms that spray and spray and spray and spray and spray and spray and spray. You've accumulated, they're like carbon credits. You've accumulated some credits. So when you need to cash a few in and plug some squirrels, you've got all these credits already accumulated. Just do it. Do it. Feed the squirrels to whatever you like, but make sure they get composted, and then your virtue levels are just through the roof. Little Red Hen says, I don't kill anything unless it tries to kill me. That's a pretty good metric. I tend to extend that to if they try to kill me or my kids or my wife or my car. If somebody tried to kill my car, I love my van. I love my 2006 Econoline van with a big dent down the side door and broken locks. I love it. It is, I feel perfectly at home in that vehicle. I'm very comfortable with my lower middle class, working class background, my status. Fine with it. I love that van. It runs great, and the AC works most of the time, except sometimes when you're on a hill, it kicks out because there's a problem with the vacuum. Doesn't matter because it's running most of the time. And if something tried to kill my plants, then it's difficult. It depends on the plant. If something tries to kill some of those nasty green summer squash things that my wife planted, oh, that's sad. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Don't care. If something tries to kill my yams, I would be upset about that. I did not like that dogs were digging up my compost pile either. I love my compost. So if you try to kill my compost or my van or my yams, yeah, then it's kind of you start to put exceptions in, you know? Like you want to make these awesome blanket rules like I don't kill anything unless it tries to kill me. And then you're like, well, the sun tried to kill me. I was out in the sun today. I want to kill the sun now. I mean, I could feel it. You know, it starts like, was that lightning trying to kill me? Was that lightning trying to kill me? Next thing you know, you're like shooting at the clouds, right? There's a lot, you know, it's like, are people trying to kill me by putting high fructose corn syrup in Coke? There's a lot of things that need to be killed. I don't know. Grocery row gardening. says, I have spiders all over my garden. It's the ones I don't see and just walk into that are most concerning, but then it gets me to do some random dancing. Spider dance! Oh! Yeah, they're crazy. There's those gigantic ones with the big fluffy legs they call banana spiders. I love Cat says, I like to think your van has free kids scrawled on the side. That's funny. Van by the river. Getting in a van again. You don't need a brand new minivan. That's ridiculous. You need whatever fleet vehicles. Like whoever drives, the fleet vehicles, like vehicles driven by commercial operations. Those big vans where you can pack a ton of stuff in it. It's awesome. And you're going to survive a crash in it. Minivans, we just skip the minivan phase, 1994 Ford F-150 with over 400k miles. Fantastic. Minivans are secretly better than pickup trucks for Home Depot runs. That's true, especially when it's raining. All I need is this chair and my remote control and this. A lot of people love how humble I am, Sheena. Compost the sun. Grow gardens to blot out the sun. I love it. Don't kill my chicken. Oh, I've killed things for killing chickens. I've taken some pot shots at things. When I moved back to the States, a friend of mine gave me this van. And he's like, I'm sorry it's got this big ding in the side and the latches don't work and stuff, but I felt like God wanted me to give you this van. And I was like, dude, this is the most beautiful van I have ever seen. Runs great. He had already fixed the air conditioning, and I found out at a cost. Well, I found out what it would cost. Is he saved all his receipts on everything that he fixed, and I found out that he had fixed the AC, and he just fixed it for me. And I was like, can I at least pay you the cost of fixing the AC? So, yeah, that worked out. That was amazing. The Lord really opened a lot of doors when we moved back here. Did I overwatch Adam at Flying Fox Fruits? No, I don't think I have. I actually don't watch very many YouTube videos, usually. A bulletproof police van. Yeah, Mad Max for the end of days. I like that. I would love an armored vehicle. Support GMO, grow my own. That's good. Is there any other plant, Crazy Farm Girl says, that looks like Carolina nettle plant in garden? Looks like that live in... I'm not exactly sure what you mean. I'm not sure what that sentence structure means. Carolina nettle plant. Oh, wait. No, it can't be the horse nettle. Is it? It's a solanum, like soda apple. There, I mean, there's all the eggplants look like them, and there's a bunch of solanum. I think it's Solana torvum. There's an edible that's kind of a bitter eggplant, like a wild eggplant that grows in Haiti and elsewhere. It could be eggplant, or it could be their Carolina nettle. I mean, it could be that the solanum, the poisonous solanum. What happens sometimes when you tear up a garden is that you will get adventitious weeds that are like, hey, I love broken ground and I appreciate you turning me up to the light. You'll get stuff that shows up in a garden that you won't get in your lawn or in your landscaping or whatever, they only show up in broken ground that's recently been turned to the earth, because there's what's called a soil bank. There's a seed bank in the soil, seed bank. And a lot of seeds are just waiting there for the proper conditions. So if there's a fire, certain things grow. If the ground gets broken, other things grow. If things are sandy, certain things grow. If the soil is very low in nitrogen, certain things grow. If the soil is very high in nitrogen, other things grow. So chances are, if you are seeing those, you probably didn't plant them. They probably just showed up. I had some solanums show up. One of those wild ones, I assumed it was soda apple. But it's interesting how you break the ground and then you get things that show up that you wouldn't see otherwise, like pigweed, you till an area and suddenly there they are. Thank you for the super chat, Crazy Farm Girl. I hope that answered it properly. I hope I got your meaning out of there. Welcome, Mr. Dashin from the Philippines. Beautiful place to grow there. Garbage truck with a 50 cal. Oh, I like that. That would be fun. The truth says, if I'm not watching R.C. Sproul on theology, I'm watching David the Good on gardening. Either way, I'm learning from a Presbyterian. Don't tell the other Baptists. LOL. Yes, I am one of those grim 5-point Calvinists. But I currently attend a Lutheran church, so what are you going to do? Flying Fox Fruits guy, Adam, has 64 red jabuticabas in a grove, plus hundreds and hundreds more jabos in Stanford, dozens of varieties. That sounds awesome. Very cool. I think, yeah, it's a break from the Doom preppers. If you just watch the Doom stuff all the time, you'll go mad. I have a very high pattern recognition skill set. And sometimes it drives me nuts to see people doing stupid things in large amounts of people doing stupid things. Economically, medically, whatever. And you just go, don't they know what's going to happen? Don't they learn? No, people don't learn. People trust people that have lied to them over and over and over again. Here's a brand new lie we're just going to keep talking about until everybody believes it. And then everybody believes it. Or almost everybody. There's always a few people that are skeptical. And then those people get, told they're idiots, and sometimes they get persecuted. But it's frustrating sometimes to just realize how many of these crises are completely avoidable if we hadn't done dumb things. But the mass of people are mostly evil, stupid, or evil and stupid. And if you dwell on that long enough, you'll go nuts. It's better to just realize that most people are not going to get it. They might not understand you. They want to do this and that and the other thing. You're not behind. And focus on good things. Focus on valuable things. Focus on your family. Read the Bible. Read Isaiah. I've been reading Isaiah lately. It's amazing. And sing songs that are joyful and that don't drag you down. You start getting these feedback loops that are negative and thinking, oh my gosh, we're all going to die this time. Don't keep feeding that. What are you going to do about it? I mean, really, what are you going to do? There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of misery out there. There are a lot of very angry people out there. The rage incidents and people just going nuts and stuff. I mean, be prepared. Be reasonable. Be smart. The prudent sees danger and flees from it. Don't get into situations where you can't win. Lead a quiet life and work with your hands. Hug your kids. Kiss your wife. you know, be thankful for people you don't know how long you have together. And don't let those feedback loops eat you, because they will. There have been times where I've gotten eaten by negative feedback loops. And my dad said, just pick somebody that you know needs prayer, and every time you have that negative thought, or you start to get into negative thinking, stop and pray for that person. And control the fear, control the depression, control the negativity or whatever else is by thinking of somebody that's in a bad shape and needs some divine intervention, and pray for them. Just stop and pray for them. Put your thoughts on somebody else. Put your thoughts in heaven, and intercede on somebody else's behalf, and you'll find yourself starting to not think about whatever you've been chewing on all the time. Just bounce your thoughts. Bounce your thoughts. Bounce your thoughts. You know, it helps. Yeah, Chef Farang says, never argue with strangers online. It's pointless. It is pretty pointless. You'll notice that I don't often argue with dialectic. I often argue with rhetoric now. If somebody comes in and is like, wow, you're so stupid. Your whole channel is stupid, and I hate your music, and you're stupid. You know, I'm not like, well, I'll tell you why I'm not stupid. I actually did this well on the SATs, and I've read a lot of books. Don't do that. When somebody comes in and just insults you, just send them a PSA where Pee Wee Herman talks about crack. This is crack. It's not cool. Send them that PSA. It's the perfect response to everything. You're stupid. Crack isn't cool. Just send it to them. I can't stand the way you put all your chickens in a box. Crack. Right? Can't stand your music. Crack. I don't want to go out with you. I don't want to go out with you, but I'm sure you'll make a good husband for somebody someday. Crack isn't cool. Send it. It works for everything. Your mom asks if you got that letter. Send her the PSA. Right. Oh, yes. And the Bible. But it doesn't make sense. Like, if somebody's attacking you, you're like, well, the Bible says. They don't care. Who cares? I mean, look, if somebody comes in disingenuously and they attack you right off the bat for being different or, you know, whatever, then you respond in kind, or you just delete it. There's, oh my gosh, somebody told me that, well, like, I would have liked this video that you filmed at your friend Elizabeth's, but the sound of a chicken in the background literally makes me ill. Because he's a vegan. That poor animal in a cage back there just makes him ill, you know. Yeah, it's not constructive criticism. You can tell, so. James, no context. Chickens in a box. Yeah, okay. Stop. Get some help. Michael Jordan, that's right. No, Brett, that's too nice. Your opinion is too nice. That's still dialectic. That's your opinion. No, tell them they're dumb. You're a dumb head, and you're fat. Does your mom know you're online? That's another one I've used. Does your mom know you're online? Oh my gosh. Alright, let me see if I can play 30,000 Years for you guys. I hope that I can find the lyrics again. There we go. No, stop! Family, where'd you go? If somebody is disingenuous from the beginning, if they're like, wow, I didn't know that you had science, then make fun of them. That's the way to do it. It's middle school. You remember middle school? The internet is middle school. I will play this on a $30 guitar in my new office, which I like to call the International Shed Quarters. Somewhere beneath the ice, somewhere cold and deep, that's where we found it. Sleeping through the years, we brought it to the night, took it home. Tried meeting currents, picked flowers on her way, dropped her posy in the grass, lost in the moonlight for an age or two. Look at me, Mom, I'm doing science. Look at me, Mom, see it blooming. 30,000 years, 30,000 years. Look at me, Mom, I found a flower. Look at me, Mom, I'm doing science. 30,000 years, 30,000 Not bad for a $30 guitar. I like it. $25 with my $5 discount from the We Care thrift store, where I love to shop. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Sheena. I appreciate it. I need to do some more songs on the David the Good Tunes channel. Also, if you guys have not pre-ordered the Grocery Row Gardening book, if you want that, if you're interested in it, it is going up as, it's a digital only right now on Kindle for $4.99. That is the Grocery Row Gardening System. It's still waiting for the illustrations, but the pre-orders, if you pre-order it, it will help the book to take off when it's launched. It helps the Amazon algorithms to recognize which books they are going to promote and which books they are going to ignore. If I get more pre-orders, if you throw in on the pre-order end of it, it does help. So I put a link to that below if you want to help me kick it up. It is already #1 in the garden design section. Right now, let me show you. This is kind of cool. At least in Kindle. But I appreciate you guys that saw it and jumped in early and have helped boost it. It's a big help. So as you can see here, we are #1 bestseller in garden design. So that is really, really, really cool. And that is because of you guys. Yeah. But it's going to be, it's not a huge book. And I talk about, the background of the system, why the system works, the different ways in maintaining it. But like I said before, I didn't see this system as a fully fleshed out design system. But as I started writing it all down, I realized, there really is a lot of background to it and a lot of planning that went into it. I know it's not going to fail, this system. And so for those of you who asked me to write a book on it, I'm writing it a little early. Usually I like a few more years in on a system before I write about it. But hey, time is short. People want to know. So we'll just call this the opening salvo on grocery row gardening. Now I've got the proof of concept. You can see it. And the book is out. And I've done grocery row gardens in 2 different climates. And I'm going to plant some more at my brother's place. The Flannel Guys, if you're not subscribed to my brother Brian, the Flannel Guys, he is like me, but less handsome. And I'm going to be doing a set of grocery row gardens for him, Lord willing, at his property in Virginia. So we will have another test on it. And I also partly wanted to get this little booklet out. It's not huge. It's not a huge book. This booklet with the idea and the planning and stuff behind it out. So those of you who are interested in the system can experiment with it. We'll kind of open source some of the experimentation and see how it does in different climates. And then when I put out a new version, it is from Good Books, yes. When I put out a new version of this book, we'll have more and more stuff, Publisher is Good Books Publishing. I appreciate that, Matthew. Thank you. And it's funny, this little place, this little garden that we're experimenting with here it's little compared to what farmers do. It's big compared to what backyard gardeners usually do. It would be a large garden for a backyard. It's very, very, very small for a farmer. They just laugh at the size of it. But it's super productive at this side, and the grocery row gardens portion of it is not too big for a backyard. It's not that big. It's 60 foot wide by about 40 to 50 feet, which, let's say it's 50 by 60, that is 3,000 square feet. So 3,000 square feet is a little bigger than maybe your average house footprint, and it's super productive. Super duper productive. Piles of vegetables productive, and it's a ton of fun. So I know the system works, and I built it at a rental house. So, on really, really, really bad dirt. So there's a lot of value in it, and I think if other people are doing it and you have different plants, different soils, but you take that framework of the grocery row garden with the proper spacing for trees and things like I recommend, and improve the soil and build on it and get it so really it's like going shopping. You go shopping down the rows. I'm going to take some apples. I'm going to take some hot peppers. I'm going to pick some berries. I'm going to get some this, that, the other thing, some herbs. I'm going to put some cut flowers. Rachel's always, she can come out and cut flowers in the garden and put them on the table, and it all fits into the system. So I'm excited about it. So I'd like to see how it plays out in different climates with different plants now that I've done it both in the tropics and now in zone 8. So It's really fun. What do I believe the Earth's shape is? From what I can tell, it's obviously flat. Banned from YouTube! The sun circles like this around like a flashlight, and the sun is really only about the size of a quarter. I can hold up a quarter and block the sun, but it's hard to look at when I do that. It's all turtles, I think, isn't it? Unsubbed! Earth is shaped like a dog. Earth is shaped like your favorite dog. It's always underfoot. Earth is shedding hair all over like your favorite dog. You just have to get used to it. Copernicus knew deep in his heart, everyone knows we'll never grow apart because Earth is like a dog. Earth is shaped just like a dog. That's right. Treasures abound 006 says, I'm in the Florida Panhandle and really want a sand pear tree. Any ideas if nurseries may carry these? Yes, they definitely do. You'll see Orient and Pineapple are both common ones, and there are a few others too. Tell them you want some of them hard pears. If it's a fruit tree nursery, they'll have it. They should have it. I used to get them all the time. Earth is an illusion. Half a ball works for everyone. Yeah, let's split the difference. You globe earthers can keep believing in your Masonic cosmology. Anyhow. Well, thank you guys. It's nice to finally do a stream again, and it's nice to be here in the International Shed Quarters. I guess I'm going to post a video on the build, even though it's probably not going to do very well. I might as well. I'm the flea on the back of dog ship Earth. That is hilarious. Oh, that's good, Hugh. And all the world is biscuit shaped. It's just for me to feed my phrase. Tangerine! The Earth is shaped like a measuring the shape of Earth. Online conversations hurt. Oh my gosh. Demonetized! How do you know when pears are ripe? Usually they will fall off the tree easily. They pick pretty easily. So, I'm glad to be back. I have not been able to get my regular garden filming done lately. It's been really ridiculous trying to work on the shed, and then when I'm not working on the shed, it's been raining and raining and raining and raining and raining, and we've had we had 2 different sets of family in, and then we had a bunch of friends in, and then we had a wedding with a bunch of friends came in from out of town, and we all had to go to that. And then some other friends wanted to have us over, and I bought this like little stainless steel flask, like you can put whiskey in, and then you can, you know, walk around with it in your pocket, like, and so I went over to my friend's house because I figured, well, if I go to this social event, I could probably go by the little bar that he has, and I could fill this thing while I'm there, you know, and then it's like it's a double duty, right? Like you're doing 2 errands at the same time. I'm visiting my friends, and I'm filling up this little stainless steel flask that I got from the thrift store, probably donated by, you know, somebody that found a dead hobo. So I was like, okay, I could do this. But then again, filling the flask, visiting the friends, that is not getting the next video out. I have this really cool video idea. 7 ways to turn weeds into fertilizer. Number 5 will make you cry. Huh? That's good, isn't it? It's brilliant. I did not grow wild tobacco, YouTube channel 2021. I love the idea, Nicotiana rustica. I've grown a lot of regular tobacco over the years, and some wilder forms of it, but never the rustica. I think that would be awesome to do that. The length of Earth isn't what matters. It's Earth's girth. Let's not talk about... Hey, Earth, when are you due? I'm not due. Mother Earth, man. The legality of growing tobacco. So far as I know, growing tobacco is legal in all 50 states, but I think the restriction is you're not allowed to grow more than 500 plants, and it must be for personal use. It's not illegal. Weed your lover, that's funny. I got it in hobo whiskey blues. Well, guys, have a very great night. This has been a lot of fun. I miss doing this. There must be 60 ways to chop your compost. And yeah, so I want to do that. I also want to do a video on seed saving because I've been letting a lot of things go to seed. And then I was going to film this seed saving video, and it's raining and raining and raining. And you should not go harvesting seeds in the rain. That is not the right time to do it. But I did get some footage on a clear day of my daughter saving some Everglades tomato seeds for her little Etsy store. And then I also, you know, got some footage of saving some beans on a dry day. You know, so I need to do these things, but they're time consuming. So instead, I'm doing live streams for now. So just because I said, you know, I can't leave everybody. We have to talk about this grocery row gardening thing stuff. So have a great night. God bless you all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the laughs. I always feel cheered up talking to all of you, and I was already in a good mood. So have a great night. Have a wonderful weekend. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.